You're going to be like, if you have imposter syndrome, it's because you actually suck. So
Hey guys, welcome back to Thread the Needle podcast.
welcome.
Yes, we took a break. You guys are probably wondering why hasn't an episode dropped in a few weeks, but we've been traveling and
Yeah, a lot of travel actually.
yes. So, we have two companies, so we had to travel to Mexico, get a couple things done, and it's just been pretty busy the last couple weeks.
It has. Yeah. Yeah, we haven't decided if this will be the kind of podcast that has like seasons where, season comes to an end and we take a break until we start another one, or
If we
if
just
we'll
keep going.
Yeah, just kind of keep going and take breaks as we need them, which is probably more realistic for like a business entrepreneurship podcast anyway.
For sure.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll keep you guys posted.
Yeah, it's very fluid.
Yeah.
So
I like it though. I mean, I think we've gotten good feedback that people like that about this podcast, that it is a little more casual
yeah.
in nature and,
Yeah.
But yeah, glad to be back.
Mm-hmm.
Excited. Lots of things have happened in the last several weeks.
Yeah.
Always busy, and it's a good thing. Yeah.
So what are we talking about today?
So today, I thought it would be a fun topic to discuss imposter syndrome.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like we have, enough friends and community in this space of small business or creatives or artists or freelancers or, people who do anything for themselves that are kind of starting something new or creating a different version of something. We hear this all the time, that people are scared or they feel like they have a moment where they don't know what they're doing, or, you work super hard to land a big project or a big client. And then once you finally do, kind of have this feeling of like, shoot, like, am I in over my head, or, can I actually do this? And so, yeah, I think it's more normal than people realize. And so thought we could tap into that a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. So I think starting from the beginning, everyone who's in this space, I should say, people in corporate America probably don't have to worry about this as much. But, a popular phrase in entrepreneurship is like, fake it till you make it, which has some truth to it. I don't think it's necessarily faking it until you make it. Because I don't know if people ever really make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, things change so much. Technology changes, business changes, trends.
Yeah.
Things change. So it's hard to say that you really made it. And so I feel like the only safe way out of imposter syndrome, in my opinion, is embracing the idea that you're just a student at all times.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because the moment you stop learning and studying your craft constantly, then you start comparing yourself, and then you start wishing or wondering why your life doesn't look like someone else's life, and then the negative thoughts start coming in, and to avoid that, I think you always have to make sure that you're not putting things in your mind, like the noise from the outside or social media, where most of the time things aren't real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I think, the fake it till you make it thing is not completely accurate. I do think the element of truth to it is like, you do have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Even if you feel like you're not ready for something, you're not going to know whether you're ready or not until you give it a shot.
Right.
Until you test yourself. So from that aspect, like, if someone says, are you ready to take on this big project? And if the reality is that you've never done it before, then your answer can't be yes, because you don't really know. You've never done it. So from that sense, you do kind of fake it. It's like, yeah, I'm ready, because you got to be confident enough to actually get the job, like get assigned the project or get hired by that client. But that's when the real testing starts. And so maybe that's where the like quote unquote make it part comes from, is once you test yourself and realize that you actually can do it. The reason I don't like to completely sign off on fake it till you make it is all of the social media scam artists that are packaging and selling courses and you know, hiding things. Like, shout out to Tammy Coker, he points these out to me all the time. I feel like we have a weekly rant session about scam artists on social media, so that's why I don't like to always say like fake it till you make it, because there's definitely a lot of people faking it,
Right.
But it's really just that insecurity. Like imposter syndrome is just insecurity. It's preparing for a situation, but then being afraid that maybe you're not ready for it. So, and that paralyzes a lot of people. Like, I know we have several close friends that have gotten to a moment of opportunity and were paralyzed by fear because they felt like, you know, I've been promoting myself as this expert or as someone who specializes in this certain thing, and someone believed it, and now they want to hire me for this role, and I'm not sure if I can actually do it.
Right.
So, but I mean, you talk about this a lot. Like, I think it's really common that people just have doubt and people have insecurity, and it's natural, and you have to fight through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's human nature to always second guess yourself, especially if you come from a background where everything is expectations are on the line and status and what people think about you. So it really goes back to one, how you were raised, and two, if you brought that like unhealthiness and negativity to your adult life. And if that's the case, then you probably still struggle with it. I know we all struggle with it at some point in our lives. I mean, we did. And when we started our company, and still to this day, we have our moments. But yeah, I mean, as long as we've been doing this, I think we are better at handling it versus when we started. And you want things to happen quickly because that's our world. At least our country is definitely like that. You're constantly performing and people judge you by really what have you accomplished. And no one understands that there's beauty in the slowness of life. And if that's the path that you choose, it's like sometimes people are like, oh, they probably look down on me because I don't have this high degree in something, or I'm not in this occupation, or I didn't start a business. So people start feeling less than, and sometimes people feel like they have to outperform to look good in front of someone else.
Yeah, for sure. The comparison is tough. That's a killer because you're never comparing your situation to someone else's equivalent situation. You're always comparing like your step 1 to the other person's like step 10 or step at least like 5 or 6 or something. You know, they've been progressing for a while in the area that you're working in, but probably further along. It's like in our first year with Marciante and Company, we're making shoes and promoting products and things like that. And we look at a brand like Tecovas, you know, and we're like, damn, like, look at what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's a totally different ball game. Like, they had been in the game so much longer. They had so much venture capital behind them. Like, it was a completely different playing field. And so, I mean, that could have crippled us early on if we let that be discouraging and feel like, oh, we shouldn't even be here because look what Tecovas is doing, or, you know.
I think people forget that there's room for everyone. And sometimes it's like you're unique already and you have your own personality and you're going to bring something different to the table than this other person. Like, it's like bloggers and vloggers online and social media. Is the content similar? Yes, but it's different personalities, and someone might gear towards this profile or this account versus the other ones. And so I feel like sometimes people think, oh, there's too many people like me, so they're scared to go after, you know, what they want or what they're good at, because then they start comparing for no reason. And I don't know, it's tough. Like, nowadays, I feel like I think I read an article the other day that millennials and Gen Z, even though people, you know, some people might look down on Gen Z or even us in the millennials stage, but we have it pretty bad. Like anxiety's terrible. We deal with imposter syndrome. We're constantly online looking at other people's lives and then thinking, oh, why haven't I gotten there? Whereas our parents' generation, I mean, no one was like looking at social media.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a tough thing that we're all dealing with nowadays versus 20 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's like sensory overload and like transparency overload almost like the boomers love to look at the positive aspects of social media and technology and think that that makes everything like super cush, you know, for our generation. And it definitely, you know, sure, it helps add some convenience to tasks and things like that. But they don't focus on the negativity of it, like how much more comparison there is, because you're comparing yourself to thousands of people all over the world that you're interacting with on social media versus they were only looking at the immediate people in their social circle that they saw in person.
Yeah.
You know, because even back then, like maybe they had a pen pal, you know, that they like wrote actual letters to, or, you know, eventually the internet came and there was emails and AIM where they could talk to people that were strangers. But even that, you're not following their daily activities and seeing a visual representation of their success every day in your face like social media is. And so, that's a pretty interesting part of it too, like just this generation and how much more susceptible we are to being insecure and comparing ourselves and feeling like, you know, we don't belong or we don't measure up. So.
Yeah, and I think a part of it outside of social media, I think people compare their daily life to others because, you know, in our parents' generation, houses now versus houses then, like you would be fine making $70,000-$80,000 and be good for like 4 people. Now it's like if you're not making 6 figures, you're probably not living a comfortable and some like change to do vacations or something like that if you have debt or something, or if you're trying to pay off debt. And so I think in our generation, a lot of people are struggling like financially to build a life that they want, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even in this space again, where it's more freelance or creative based, where we're kind of selling ourselves, it does get very personal too. So like a lot of people don't know that I dabble in a little bit of digital marketing aside from just our 2 brands.
Yes. Matt has a whole other side business.
I do. Yeah. I started it on accident, but it's been a lot of fun and got a handful of clients now that I do paid advertising, email marketing, things like that for. So
it's called Pretty Decent Marketing.
Decent, yeah, prettydecent.marketing is the website. Shameless plug. If you want to go check it out. But it is very personal because I am pitching myself to brands and clients. Like when a client reaches out and say, hey, you know, this person recommended you. I want to hear about what you do. There are thousands of people, maybe millions around the world who do what I do. It's not like a mystery. I'm not a magician, you know, so I'm literally pitching myself. Like, here's the way that I analyze these problems. Here's how I choose to approach strategy like this.
Right.
And some of it's intuitive. It's like, I do this, not because there's a textbook for it, but because I feel like that's how you're supposed to do it. And I feel like that's how it should operate. And I've seen success in doing that. So if people don't trust my gut, or if they don't trust my intuition, that is personal, right? It's not just, you know, apples to apples. Like, well, I compared you and this guy was $5 cheaper per month. And so I went with him. It's not just that, because a lot of time it's not just about the money, especially, you know, my prices are a decent amount lower than what most people would charge. But that person still has to trust me personally to approach their business strategy. And so, for artists, for creatives, musicians, anyone who's essentially making themselves the center point of their business or the center point of their brand, it's personal. And so it's tough for them to not, you know, feel insecure about things when you do face rejection 100%. Like it happens a lot. So yeah, they start to question whether they should have been there in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to see that. It's discouraging. And so we always try to, encourage people to look at these things the right way and to, analyze the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've gotten so many no's throughout like our career and building our business. But at the end of the day, I think one, we lean on each other. And I think sometimes people need a person to lift them up. And, you know, I think friendships and your community is important in that aspect, and having the right people around you to push you and not let you get down if you feel a certain way or if you feel like you're less than. I think you just need those people to lift you up and say the things that you need to hear, because sometimes we're in our own head. So we're our worst enemy and we don't need to be hearing our thoughts all the time. So you need someone in your corner to lift you up when you're down at times.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it would be cool to close this episode. Like we'll each give like a couple minutes or like 30 seconds. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. But basically, let's each give like our locker room speech to anyone who's listening. You know what I'm saying? Artists.
My locker room speech is probably going to be the worst.
Yeah, you're going to be like, if you have imposter syndrome, it's because you actually suck. So you should quit. No, but yeah, for artists, creatives, marketers, social media strategists, you know, entrepreneurs, brand owners, musicians, photographers, videographers, anyone who's building a brand or service around themselves. Let's give like our pep talk. You want to go first? You want me to go first?
I can go first because mine will probably be shorter than yours. I always make fun of Matt because my points are always straight to the point, and Matt's like giving.
Yeah, I like to tell the story.
30-minute
I like to give context.
Speech.
AKA, I talk too much.
For me, it's short. It's like stay resilient, be adaptable. There are always going to be bumps in the road, and in those times, you're going to want to step away. But if you are gifted in a certain thing or designing or whatever you're creative at, stick with it because you have those gifts for a reason. And those gifts are not meant to be hidden. It's meant to be out there in whatever capacity that you can give. And maybe it's not to be in front of like thousands or millions of people. Maybe it's to be in a school or in a community or in a nonprofit organization. Whatever it may be, don't give up on the giftings that you do have. Use it in whatever capacity that you can give.
That's good. I like that. Okay, I'll give mine. If you're a creator, if you're in business for yourself, freelancer, that type of thing, just know that only you can do what you do in the way that you do it. So you have your unique skill set and giftings and flavor on what you do for a reason. Not everyone can be your client. Not everyone's going to be your customer. If you're selling a product, not everyone's going to buy it. Even friends and family, like we know that from experience.
Yep.
Not everyone's going to buy it, and that's okay because your gift will make space for you. The right customers will find your product. The right clients will find your service. And if you're diligent and if you work hard and sharpen your tools and stay focused on your craft, your gift will create space for you and you'll be exactly where you're supposed to be. You're still going to hear no more often than you're going to hear yes. That's just part of the journey. It's part of competition in this space. But you'll land exactly where you're supposed to. So stay focused.
That's a wrap.
Thank you guys for listening this week. Give us a like and a follow. Check out our social media. Check out the YouTube if you're not already there. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, really wherever you're listening.
Follow us, write us a review.
That's super helpful. It helps more people find us. So appreciate you guys and hope you have a great week. Thanks for checking out Thread the Needle.
See ya.
Later.